Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast, The Health Hunters. My name is Fernando, and here today I have an exceptional guest. But before I introduce it to you, I just have to say thank you for every single of you that is subscribed to our channel. If you didn't subscribe yet, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcast, and also on Instagram. You just have to find The Health Hunters. And now we're going to start the show with my great friend Andrija, the greatest hunter of health. So, no, welcome back. I'm the best doer. Welcome to the show. I'm very glad you are up here, standing into this place where we're going to talk in very good, inspiring things. How are you doing today?
Good. Feeling good. Yeah. Healthy.
Yeah, feeling balanced, right?
Feeling balanced,
In
definitely.
balance,
That's
yeah.
the word.
Yeah, in balance
Sure.
is always good. So we normally start this show asking our guests, what for you is the definition of health?
Well, I don't think it's a good question. And I think the question is the more important because my question is, what is health? And because you're asking me what is my definition of it, but what is health? And then is it spiritual health? Is it physical health? Is it mental health? And I think health is maybe a combination of all three and maybe even more. I don't think there is an answer. I maybe think the question is more important. What is the core of it? And then individually those things. But for me, I think it's really, again, a balance or between those three would be, I think, the crucial part. Because if you neglect one of the three, I think it's like a stool with three legs and it kind of falls down. You cannot be healthy if you're spiritually sick or mentally sick or, physically sick. And then which one comes first? I don't think is one that comes first. I think they arise mutually, at the same time. You can maybe focus on one more. And then as you start to focus on that one more, then the other ones kind of come up, not spontaneously, but...
No, but one pushing
the
other,
other,
right?
yeah. If you're... So I want to say in the sense of, if you start exercising, you might notice that you're developing more mental health at the same time. And if you start to think mentally better and healthier, you start to exercise more. And also then, if you want to incorporate in that, of course, spirituality. But not spirituality has also so much connotations in many ways. But
gotcha, yeah.
Depends. It's beyond mental and physical. It has... because sometimes you might be sound of mind and body, but you are, I don't know, feel empty or drained, like in some ways, something's missing beyond that.
I know, yeah, we see people going for instance, doing jogging and going to the gym and all of this part of it to keep also their own, people claim to be their own meditation part of it. So how to actually keep the vehicle that is the body sustainable for having the mind in the correct place, you know what I mean, and stable in there, right?
Yeah, of course. It's you've seen it in different walks of life and different practices for sure that people use that. So yeah, for me, I think you pick one if you cannot, whatever is the easiest one to approach. At least I wouldn't want to say that as advice, because also it's saying that there is a right way. I think you need to figure out your own. So I can actually, about anything, I don't have advice or saying that it is. I can only speak for myself and what works for me in that sense.
Yeah,
so
that's always about, and this is what it's about.
So I think that's the fundamental part. But yeah, I think personally for me, it started more with physical one, because even if your mind is not on track in some ways, if you just keep on doing something like physically, then you don't have to overthink it. You just have to throw yourself into it. Planning is good. So research, knowledge, absorb books, absorb whatever it is, the way that you absorb information. But then at one point you gotta throw the instruction manual by the side and kind of roll up your sleeves and go into it. And that then changes everything. So it's nice to, again, get some information beforehand. Again, I will say more, speak for myself. It was good to hear from other experts and other things of how to do a certain exercise or certain tricks of the trade, let's say, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? I mean, people have been doing, now I want to say physical exercise, but they search for health for a very long time, and it's probably
like to get age like longer time in a healthiest way, right?
Everything. I don't know. It's just again, is health equal to happiness? Most times, I think, for sure. Is it safe to say? Probably. I think it's a very old question in that sense, and I think it's also the answer has changed over time. So, and for each individual again. But that's why I'm saying you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So it's good to hear of your predecessors, let's say, of in this case health hunters, what they figured out. So, and then you do it and you need to apply it yourself and you figure out, oh, this actually works. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, the best expression is reinvent the wheel. Like you don't have to make a square and like, but let me try the square one, like, and it's like, no, it's
no,
it's round. Yeah,
it doesn't roll like that.
No, it's around. So, but again, also it's crucial to not be stuck in the old ways of thinking, to think a bit outside of the box, because you might invent a completely different way. So appreciate the knowledge that exists, try to apply it, and see what happens. But physical exercise for sure is, at least for me, the easiest in that sense. Mental secondly, spiritual third, I think, in difficulty. But again, the more I nurture physical, the more the other ones come into place.
The require will be like the space for the other things to grow will be also in there, right?
Yes, for sure.
I think so, like especially monasteries and monks were actually doing that type of thing, right? Like through martial arts, you know what I mean? Like applying that way, where they look at, what they eat, how do they practice with the body, and then you have the spiritual part of it, right? Like all together.
For sure, and the mental toughness and everything, but it's really that kind of hardcore drill sergeant training, and it's like you don't need to think, you don't need to understand. They'll tell you, hey, do this, and your mind cannot think about tomorrow or yesterday. There's only one thing that exists in that moment, and it's that exercise. And you need to tap into something again deeper. So you kind of override your mind, and then you also get into that something beyond. Wow. So, and martial arts, martial arts, but any sports, but also especially martial arts, because they have sometimes more deeper, I think, overlay with spiritual practices.
The connection,
yes,
right? Yeah, the connection they have with the
you can see that if you tap into Japanese like Aikido or Judo or Jiu-Jitsu, or in Chinese Kung Fu, or better said Wushu to be more correct. But again, I don't want to take away from any other. We could go down the list of all martial arts in the world, whether it's Muay Thai. And again, not to exclude her for these, I'm just mentioning them. They have that definitely spiritual practice about it. Same thing you can see in Rinzai school of Japan. Like they have... they're different than their other contemporaries of, some would argue predecessors, the Shoto school. They are more focused on the Shoto on thinking, so intellectualizing. So this is now mental health, let's say. But the Rinzai school is more about achieving spiritual, mental, and health benefits, but not exercise, sorry, by work, basically. So it's like
Work in.
work in the sense of simple expression from them, very core fundamental from one of their members is who doesn't work doesn't eat. So if you don't go in the field to work the fields, you don't eat rice. It's that simple. But while you're carrying water and
Oh.
doing you there's nothing about special practices. It's just you're doing what needs to be done. So they would say, what do you do before enlightenment? Like carry water, and what was it? The other part, eat rice, carry water. You know, like, and what do you do after enlightenment? Eat rice, carry water. Like there's no difference. It's just you keep on doing what you're doing. And I think the same thing is, with exercises and everything.
Yeah, we do have that images of, when people go to these trainings, especially in the West, when they go to, these parts of Occidental, like martial arts, of seeing people carrying only two buckets of water to the stairs, right? It's always that beautiful images, that we see it like in movies, and then eating like only a simple bowl of rice.
Because you bear it down to the basics. Like anything, minimalism in its core. So it's like you need the air to breathe, the water to drink, and something to eat, and that's it. And you bear it down to the close to the bone, and then that brings you very, very deep, very, very to the edge of just you and yourself with nothing else, and there's no distractions. But again, to get lost in that. Also aestheticism is also a very interesting path, but also not necessarily the final thing, like if you give up everything. I don't think that's also the solution, to go sit on top of a mountain. And for some people, yes, of course. Maybe that's what you need. Maybe it's what you need for a whole lifetime. And blessings to all the beings that did it, Yeah. But it's not necessarily the end-all, be-all of everything, I would say. Like that monk's life, like completely. Although I do want it, in many ways,
Indeed.
Yeah. So I bring parts of it maybe to my life, as much as I can incorporate it. But some would argue then it's not enough dedication, you're kind of half-assing it, kind of thing, because again, it's if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, right, but of course, like the alignment, they are much closer to achieve that goal when we are basically keeping ourselves into a surviving mode up here, you know what I mean? Like how to deal with all issues in society and so on, and how to keep ourselves in our own feet, you know what I mean? Like this is already, too much distractions around us when they actually live in mountains and castles where they really, give up, not giving up, I probably am missing like the word, but, they have a different type of distractions than they are, with nature, with the universe. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's the only Zen that's waiting on top of the mountain is the one that you bring. So you think you can escape things, but you don't. And also to claim that you are, well, and when we say now enlightenment, we're talking about this spiritual health, but it's also, again, mental health, physical health, all of it. It overlaps. But it's like you're not really. It's easy to be on top of a mountain. Nothing touches me, above it all. But then go down to the city, and if somebody spits in your face, let's see how
the great yogi
strong is your mind, not to get caught up in worldly affairs, like so. It's in the words of another person, uncooked seeds, So, and again, in their words, being basically renunciate, is not necessarily the thing. They're there. They're just waiting for the thing to stimulate the growth of it, So, yeah, you can pretend, but it's not the actual thing. To be actually healthy, let's say, or at peace in the midst of a city, or let's say New York Times Square, that's it.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
that's real solid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So because, and that I think overlaps mostly with what I'm trying, at least on this journey, is because I take moments, to sit down and become present more and the whole thing, right? So I create my little habitual ritual of whatever in the morning, sitting down, my puja table, and lighting a candle and burning some incense, the whole thing, like crystals and a million other things that
Yeah,
it's
the
does.
connection with the universe
Of
is like with
course
the
it's your own
elements, right?
thing,
Yeah.
but it's also in some ways it's attachment. And then to say that those are the moments that I'm able to be present is, I don't want to say wrong, like it's a good helping tool,
Mm-hmm.
to at least I consider for myself. So it helps, but I always remind myself, if I can only be in those moments at peace, healthy, then I'm missing the point. The point is to be at any point while I'm. Again, we come back to that Rinzai school, is like while I'm doing the dishes, while I'm cleaning the garbage, and you don't want to be there, and it's like, no, this is where I am, and then a funny thing that I do, again, my mind is like, this is what I was meant to do. And it's a funny thing to say that while you're cleaning garbage, that your whole life has been preparation for that moment to clean that garbage. Like,
Yeah.
no, no, when I'm doing something else that's special, this is it. And this is what I want to do with every moment of my life. But it's like life is consists of so many things, of waking up, going to the toilet, showering, a million of these things. And if you master those and be present and grateful for them,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, the
think that's
grateful and living
gratefulness is
thing.
very
Yeah,
clear.
yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be like that's the moment, and really, well, this the struggle probably it is because you always think have the tendencies to push the ego on top of it and think like, oh no, I'm better than this. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
a tricky balance again, also
yeah,
because to push yourself to strive to something and change and progress into a future that might be more beneficial for you or for somebody else is necessary, a bit that fire, under you. It's what makes us human, right? For achievement. But it's also, you can overuse that and overdo that. And I think most people are trapped in that, like of constant doing, constant achieving, and it's never good enough where you are. It's a tricky thing to, at least for myself, I find it, to be grateful where I am, but still strive for not something better. I don't want to even use the word better, just keep doing and moving. So, but then it needs some kind of purpose and direction. But that's, again, you can get trapped in that. I think it's really about, I don't even know how to say it.
yeah,
It's just being and kind of going with the thing. But that sounds very also passive, like you kind of just let go. And how can you trust yourself that to cross the street or anything? But tricky. It's not at least I don't find it easy. It's a very tricky, because but I find myself most times trapped in the overdoing. I need to do, I need control, and that moment is somewhere in the future, and then I miss the most important thing. Again, cliche, but it's probably for a reason, right? Cliches are what they are. It's the present. It's
yeah.
everything. It's yeah, it's that all that exists, actually, right? So yeah, I think that's mindfulness, presentness, because, and that again incorporates again into your mind, but also exercise, because I try to do that, like with exercise in the beginning. That's why I'm saying you can. I'm going to speak more about myself rather than how
Please.
people should, rather
No, no.
than general, because I'm like, it's how I see the world. So I'm like then putting it around it. I know
Yeah.
everybody has their own. More personal, more specific. For me in the beginning was really trying out different exercises. Now to focus more on that, I've gone up and down of different things, trying of martial arts, biking, climbing. That's a very still integral part of my life. all of them are in some ways, more or less, but climbing especially. But gyms, outdoor exercise, they all have their own way and their benefits. What I'm now mostly enjoy for hobby or sport wise, so it's fun and still challenging, is climbing, which is great because you can just level up. I loved deep solo, which was next to the water cliffs with no rope. Growing up, that was my favorite. Now here, of course, there's mostly bouldering gyms, so you have to go in that.
Yeah.
But I personally didn't. I went for many years to the gym, but I didn't enjoy it as much. I really enjoy calisthenics, so it's outdoors, so just body weight. I can do it indoors, but I enjoy outdoors, especially since I have one that's literally 1 minute away from my house. Calisthenics, not equipment, but a setup.
Do you mind to explain to people what this is?
Yeah,
For people who don't know what
calisthenics is literally body weight exercises, and it can be again reps, but it can also be holds, so that you hold a static hold that's very difficult and requires extreme balance and strength and everything.
Yeah, and part of the mind, right? Like, to
Sorry.
control your mind against, like, postponing, the pain, for instance, because if you are standing like from the same
Postponing the pain, I would disagree with that, though, of the postponement, because the pain is there, and there's no postponement. There's
postponing the release, let's say.
Postpone the release, you mean,
Yes.
of the hold?
Yes, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's it brings you deep, because everything in you is like, why am I doing this? So your voice keeps talking, like, stop this, I'm uncomfortable. And it's funny how once you break through that, how deep you can go, right? And that you continue to hold it past that point. And it really tests you. Pain is a good teacher. Uncomfortability is a very tough teacher. And we naturally avoid it. But yeah, there's something in that, So, but yeah, holding a hold and then pushing your limits. But what is it? And the pain is there. It really brings you to the present. There's nothing else. When you're in pain, there is no yesterday or tomorrow, in that sense. It's the only thing that exists. What is it? So yeah, with calisthenics, I enjoyed that. And I got also rings, gym rings. I don't know if you know what I mean? Gymnastic rings.
Gymnastic rings, yeah.
And those are very versatile, and you can set them up anywhere. So you don't even need to have a place that normally has bars and stuff. You can find a tree or somewhere, or a basketball hoop, and set it up. But yeah, at first, what I was more focusing, where I was getting to, was the fact of it's interesting. That's the battle of the mind and the body. And I find that interesting, again, when people say mind over matter. Common expression of, especially in exercising circles,
Right.
because it's like your body's saying no, but with your mind say, yes, I can, and push through. And I would not disagree with that. It's right, but I also believe the other one is right, that when my voice is saying I can't do anymore and my body continues to move, that's a very interesting. So it's matter over mind for me, because if you... I notice it mostly with rope jumping. It's one of my favorite things. So I got rope jumps, and I got also, I'm not going to sponsor people. I don't know how you feel about that. But they have also with different weight of the rope jump.
The rope itself? Oh, wow.
So it's like a quarter pound, a half pound, a pound, and 2 pounds, for example. So very, very heavy, very, very heavy. 1 pound, 2 pounds, super heavy. But what is it? It's funny because I set the timer, let's say 10 minutes, and I jump, and halfway through I'm exhausted and I don't want to continue. And my voice is saying stop, but I just continue. And then it's funny that your voice is saying you something, quit, and you just keep on doing it. And that's a very interesting moment for me. And it becomes almost like, is this voice controlling this body, or is this just witnessing the whole thing, like commenting on it? So yeah, it has an interesting aspect of that. And then what I do is also increase 1 second every time I do the next day. It's a small thing. You would think 1 second, nothing. But hey, if I do every day rope jump, after a year, 1 year,
Well, actually, if like after a month, you have 30
man,
seconds more.
oh, that's huge. Like that's
It is.
really huge.
It
That's
is. It
like
is.
really. And then if you're gonna do it for life, you reach probably a point where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
enough with the 1 second. But what I wanted to say was mostly is before I was chasing numbers. That was the interesting part. Was let's say I could do 10 push-ups, and then it's like, okay, next time 11, and the next time 12. But an interesting practice that now I'm doing is 0. Because there's no point. Forget the number. That's what I'm doing to myself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just 0.
Yeah.
0. How many did I do? Doesn't matter. Just
You're not counting how much you do.
Because you're not chasing anything.
Yeah, but I have to counter agree with you about
Tell
a
me,
little bit
please.
about that part, because in somehow our brain, of course the mind is controlling that part, but then we have that disconnection with the body. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
and some injuries can actually happen in the body if you don't really listen to it. You know, like we actually have, many musicians actually coming with that artist showing then if we don't listen to our brain, you know what I mean? Like, who is paying is the body. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
it
I
happens
follow you
with
now,
different,
yes.
like, lifestyles and things like that we do. We are actually in pain the way we stay sitting in a chair, but we somehow can disconnect that pain and ignore it. And then the moment then you stand up, you start to feel the pain because you kind of change the position of the body. You know what I mean? Like,
So you mean that you didn't listen to your voice?
yeah,
in
early
this
enough.
case?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But you see, that's my point is very good. You're right about if your body says I'm in pain, stop. Your body or your voice in this case. But that's my point of the 0 is very good because although I set a goal, let's say that normally I would be like, no, I did yesterday 11, today I need to do 12.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing 0 with no thing, I could do 5 and my body is like, I don't have the energy or it's in pain, I will stop without knowing that I reached 12 or 5. It's just listening to the body. And that there is not a ego chase of how many in gyms they always have an expression, but I think in gyms it should be generally applied. It's such a good mantra. Leave your ego at the door, because a lot of times you'll come in and somebody's doing more weights than you or more reps. Forget that. Out with that. And that I think people should apply in every aspect of their life. Leave your ego at the door. And the ego is, and I don't mean the ego in a bad way because it's the mind and it's a beautiful thing, but it's a great servant, but it's a horrible master. So
I mean, we are all different in any way. The competition part of it when we go to gyms or even yoga schools, you know what I mean? Like people doing that. And it's such a place where you're supposed to find enlightenment with your own self. And you start looking at that. There's a way they do it. And I confess, I also did go to practice yoga in schools and did it like, oh, he can reach better than me, like the feet on the hands on the floor and things like that. But then later, these things take time to get rid of it. You know what I mean? The ego to live like exactly on the door in a moment. But you're supposed to live it like in the right balance, in the right place, like I'd say.
It shouldn't be forcefully left behind, but it should naturally fall away along the way. Of whatever journey is that you're on concerning any. Now we're focusing more on health, but on this life's journey, at some point you should shed it. And the older you get, the more easier it becomes. Like at least some people hold on to it for dear life till the last moment. But you see most times with older people that they're kind of less and less ego. They kind of are like they see it's coming to an end. So, yeah.
Wow, this was very beautiful. That's nice talk with you. Now, I have one more question up here. Do you have any book recommendation, anything that has changed your life, some podcast, some place in the world that people should actually go, experiences or anything that can really see people in a different...
Those are different questions. Podcast and place to visit in the world and book. But
things would change your life. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
a moment.
A moment. That's now my brain is going through past everything, but more easier to answer maybe a book because those are easier. And again, also not easy because there's so many books out there that are highly recommendable. But I think more than anything, a good one is 8 limb yoga, for example, at least for a guide, because it's such a universal, it's so straightforward and it incorporates so much, at least for me. But, and again, this is not this way is better than that way or anything like that. It's just a way. And it incorporates so many things that, again, if you follow this, I think I'm trying very, very hard. It's very, very difficult. And again, I hate that. I should remove that, because it's only as difficult as I make it,
As you make.
mentally, like
Yeah.
it's an excuse almost, like, I should be better at this, but it's difficult. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's, so yeah, I would recommend 8 limb yoga, but it's, you can find many books about it, but it's, definitely one of those that I've come across. And but also places in the world. Well, good food. Go to Italy, because you are what you eat. So if you eat good food, you'll. But again, you can make good food in your own kitchen wherever you are in the world with whatever ingredients you are. So good luck with that.
I mean, I mainly choices is looking for at least local and seasonal. Like seasonal food is probably support also economy and also the planet, I would say.
But again, we say that ideally, but I know also people are in some situations in the world where you're just trying to get any kind of food to get from day to day. You try your best, in that sense, I think. But definitely, if you have a choice, make conscious choices that are beneficial for you, your community, and the world at large. But also not maybe to be overly egoistical in the sense of I'm changing the world. Like, no, focus on yourself. If you take care of yourself, believe me, you've done more than. It's very hard. It's very hard to take care of oneself. So to think further than that, I don't know. I'm doing everything in my life and everything in my power just to kind of put myself together properly. And again, as I am taking care of myself, I'm realizing that I am more conscious of the world and taking care of it. But you cannot. And again, we come back to a cliche expression, but it's true. Yesterday I was a fool and I tried to change the world. Today I'm wise and I'm working on changing myself. Paraphrasing, I don't know who the original quote is, but it's such a universal saying that it's
Michael Jackson
true.
also have that, looking at the man in the mirror.
There you
right?
go. There you go. It starts in the mirror. So or act locally, think globally, act locally, kind of thing.
Exactly.
But no, it's more for me mostly reading. I enjoy reading, but I've listened to plenty of podcasts. And again, just like with the martial arts, I don't want to now say a few because it's just pointing them out, and it doesn't really. Yeah, no, because again, no, there's too many coming to mind at the same time. No, they're rushing through it. I'm like, me first. I'm like, no, you're all at a round table. Like, I do have those who are on the round table, let's say, that are more favored than the rest, because again, not every shoe fits, like with other things. But more also of books. The other one book maybe that I would mention, because it's let's say that the 8 limb yoga is more spiritual kind of, but again has physical parts and everything, and mental. But I really like from Dr. Joe Dispenza, becoming supernatural, because it really as a combination of scientific approach to something that might be considered to most people
too esoteric.
Yes, exactly. Too out there, like in the sense. And this is he's a great bridge that is like, no, measurable. So scientific with instruments. And to bring it in that context is for if you have a different character predisposition, it's much easier to absorb and accept, like it's rephrasing of the same thing.
Yeah, we're always looking for proof and things and actually really like if you can see them exist, you know what I mean? Like, and it's very difficult to explain energy wise, like how and many scientists did, you know what I mean? Like I think like this many schools of philosophy actually try to put that into ways and people could understand it.
True. It's because that part, the other part requires belief, right? And faith, which is opposite of proof and everything. And then it's if you can have something that just kind of shows you in some ways, you know, like it might help you, you know, kind of take the first step maybe, but you got to let go at some point, you know. They're all helping wheels in some ways, the intellect and science and data, and you just kind of, I don't know. I understand step by step going into the water, you know, testing the water. But I also like the approach, like push them in and sink or swim, you know, and what most 99% realizes they can swim. You know, it's such a natural thing. You're like, I'm drowning. And then, wait, I'm not. I'm actually doing this, you know. So stop thinking, just go for it. And I say that also very consciously that not everybody can swim. Not everybody, you know, some people drown, and for some people it should be take it step by step, one step at a time, you know, gradual. So
hydrophobia also exists. People who have so actually
those I would push even more. Like, hey, here, if you have arachnophobia, I put you in a room full of spiders. Face your fears, you know.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Do
you have any books?
Any book?
Well, hey, now I'm twisting it on you. I'm going to interview
to be like that way.
Any moments you would recommend? Any
places? Any podcasts? No, of course I do have many, and I obviously say this podcast is the one that is inspired. So thank you so much. And one of your future books. So actually, I'm going to ask. One of my questions is where people can find you at. You know what I mean?
If you know me, you know me. So, and I'm not too far away. If you just look, and then I give it away. No, I won't give it away. I was going to be coy, which is like, if you look in your heart and if you look in the mirror, I'm right there. You know,
exactly.
Like, you know, it's the teacher. In India, they have an expression, God, Guru, and self are one and the same. So you just have to look, you know, with, not even within. That's, again, it's a direction. Just look and you, who said it? Look and you shall find, ask and you shall receive.
Oh, I don't know.
Jesus.
Jesus?
I think so. I think the man. Right. The man. JC. JC.
Oh, yeah. God bless him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If anybody was
be the blessed of all.
He was giving blessings. He had so much blessing. He was going around like, and you, I bless you, and you, and you, and you. Indeed. Not you.
You go there to other brother, my other cousin. No, that's good. No, but this was a very good moment I had here with you. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm glad I was on the show, and pleasure and honor to be here among the first pioneers, and hopefully many more years to come.
Yes, and for sure we want to inspire more. The objective up here is really inspiring people for a better state of mind and physical and mental, right? Yeah.
I think from your previous podcast, you're already good on the road, you know, and if you just continue, it's going to get better and better, and more people are going to hear, again, the message, you know, like in that sense. And again, we all just need some help sometime and some guiding words in some ways, and hopefully you can, I'm sure this will provide it, but it's just the continuous questioning. So no answers, only questions.
Andrija, thank you so much to be up here with us, you know, and invading your personal life.
You're not invading. Invasion means forced entry. No, you're more than welcome. So it's exchange, you know, like
exchange.
But
if it's not, I'm invading you.
No. I know what you meant. Like,
I can knock the door.
Actually, welcome.
You welcome everybody. In, you know what I mean? Like,
but that's how I'm like. I know what you mean, because you're like intruding or taking time
Yeah.
out of your, like life in that sense. And I'm like, no, you're.
But you are actually a person that inspire others like
I
that,
don't know
right?
if I. What way? What do you mean inspire?
By
For
actually showing how transparent and how well care you take it of yourself, and you know what I
me,
mean, like how to expose like that way, but in a good way. You know what I mean,
but it's
like
funny, that kind of feeling. I gotta tell you, because it's really like you feel like a fraud, because it's like I know how much. No, but it's a imposter
whoa,
syndrome, right, or
okay,
whatever it is. I don't know if that's for this, but
yeah,
I feel like a fake, because it's like I know how many times I fail at discipline, how many times I fail at mentally being present, and and then you kind of feel like a failure. It's just I know the struggle, so it's like I'm far from. Again, it
being
sounds right where I want. Yeah,
yeah,
it's so it's very difficult then to say again, do this, or that people look and see like I wish I was like you, and you're like if only like can't you see that I'm struggling here? But the thing is, maybe that's the core. They see that's maybe it, that you're trying. And I think that's maybe the where the respect comes from, like towards, but that's also respect where I give it. It's for me, it doesn't matter where somebody is. And the same goes then what I tell to myself. And that's harder to say to yourself most times. It's much easier to forgive others than it is to forgive yourself. At least I find it in my
God, I
book.
think yeah.
But it's like it doesn't matter where I am. It's just as long as I keep trying, but that also, you see that again, we come back to that full circle of keep trying
Yeah.
means that I won't have to be somewhere else where I'm not at, or be something that I'm not yet. And that it's good, but it's not if you get caught in it. So yeah, I don't feel like I deserve anybody to take up examples from me or role models, or
Yeah.
but I get.
I think from all of this moment and we're having up here of this
Mhm.
talk, if somebody applies 1% of this conversation of this
Yeah.
45 minutes and we'll be talking, it will be a completely different experience of their own person because he has their own perspective and so
Mm.
on. But definitely find a way of avoiding the word like nothing works for me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So that's exactly what we are trying to accomplish up here. Then is not only that way, then is the
Mm.
only way. Exists like infinite ways of execution, fixing problems because
Mm.
exists always a solution for a problem.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's not a problem; it's a
That
fact, right?
that's true also,
Yeah.
but that's an interesting one. Again, my world mostly consists of paradoxes, right? So the main one concerning this is that there is a universal thing that works for anybody. So here, universal exercise.
Yeah.
You can try to go around it. For any human being, exercise work.
Drink of
Like
water, for
what?
instance.
There you go. It's so universal.
Yeah.
So. But the other one is tailor made. So it's like very unique to your situation and your circumstances,
Your
So
constitution. Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you might have some kind of disability, whether you're born with it or it came to you through your life or whatever it is, So, and it's a difficult balance then again. So, yeah, you see again that most things are universal in some ways, but you gotta take it and finesse it to your own circumstances. So yeah, I think that's maybe a trick. At least what I did to myself. I absorbed as much as I can from outside, saw the similarity, so the same message in all of them. But let's say in more core, this one recommends this exercise, this one, that one, this one like this. Like here, take one muscle, ab, and then lower ab, and then you'll find 100 exercises in different ratios and different things. And it's so, again, specific different, but I don't know. Now I'm getting lost in my own.
I
my own
understand
threading,
perfect.
but
I
yeah.
hope like this is not what people think being like the televendors, like things you're selling on TV, saying like promising,
Yeah.
you know, things.
But again, you see, but that's also maybe the thing, because on one side I want to hide in the universality of it all, or I don't even know if that's a word. Like we're making up words. If in
We
any
love
case,
that,
let's
right?
say like
Let's make
so
English.
it's like nobody can tell you the right way. But the other part is also like, no, shut up, go do this exercise, don't overthink it, and just keep to it. Don't.
Yeah.
That's one of my major problems. Was also, it's good, but you see, when you can overdo it, it's when you are. I kept changing my methods. Yeah. Same thing, I changed my mantras so many times, and I'm like, if I only stuck to one this whole time, it would have worked by now. It's the laser focus part. But it's good also to kind of switch around till you find something that kind of works for you more than another thing, you know. So at least for me. So I think you should look around, you know, for a while, try different things, kind of. But after a while, you realize you could be changing every second, every day, every moment for the rest of your life. And it's always the next method, you know?
Yeah.
But hey, choose one, stick to it, and oh my God, you will see results, you know? Like, simplify it. So stop searching for something outside of that, you know? So again, simple, one crunch exercise for the ab, and there, you're done, you know. Same thing for the food and everything else, or mantras for that matter. Just like, stop switching, choose one, stick to it. Call me in 321 days and let's see results. You'll be amazed.
Yeah, indeed. Andrija, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it was a very good afternoon with you. And yeah, that's it.
Till
for
next
today.
time.
And that's it for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this episode the same way than I did. This was an incredible experience to listen to Andrija, my great friend. I hope you guys enjoyed it also. If you did, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, also on Spotify and Instagram. You just have to look for us as The Health Hunters, since we are looking and searching for the best way to stay healthy and balanced. So guys, stay tuned and see you next time.